we get the big box of stuff comes in, binders, Epstein files, right? Like, oh, that's interesting. They brief us and they go, hey, don't overhype this. Here's what's going on. We thought we had all the files we needed, but we found out that there's been stonewalling and destruction of evidence, and Anna Paulina has said this publicly, and this was a different person who told us. So here's a letter to Kash Patel. The story is the letter. The files we're giving you because we want to show like, hey, we're doing what we can do. We're doing what we can do. Don't overhype them. Downplay expectations. But the letter was the big story. Embargo's till 3. Okay, great. So we have our meetings. We go into the Oval Office. Everybody's like super hyped up now because Trump's in there. You know, if anybody wants any of that information, I can talk about all that. But everybody's super like wound up. And we leave the Oval Office after taking our pictures and getting our coins and our markers and everything. And then here's the marker. I'll show you. They're pretty cool. The ASMR executive pin marker for signing the.
Yeah, I've got one of those from Trump 1.0.
Yeah.
They're extra squeaky, right?
The marker,
Yeah.
So everybody's like wound up, and then the UK people needed the room that we were in the West Wing. So they're like, sorry guys, we got to leave. We're going to go up to the other room in the Eisenhower building. It's actually the interview room where J.D. Vance had his I don't really care Margaret moment. So we go. So we're walking down from the West Wing, and then I felt like I was walking into a firing squad because I don't like people to know that what I do, because then all people do is bloodsuck. Yeah. Oh, Cerno. Oh, how do I meet Trump? Oh, and then they get jealousy, like, well, why are you there and not? All it does is causes me problems. So everybody who actually knows me knows that I'm always like, look, I'm irrelevant, I'm a loser, don't text me, lose my number, I can't do anything. Because I don't want people to know, because it's just manipulative. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and then some people turned over because they go, what are you holding? So everybody's just kind of like, well, it's like a natural reaction. And if you see the one picture, I was like trying to hide my face. My eyes are like, it's like, where's Waldo? And then I put it down and then they're like, oh, you smirked. You don't understand the seriousness of the moment. Like, no, I tried to hide my face. The smirk was, I was like, I'm caught. I got caught. It felt like you were leaving a brothel, and then it was like your girlfriend was out there, right? You're like, oh man, but you're leaving a frat party or something. You're like, man, I'm totally caught. And then we had to go up to the room, and we still don't have phones. We don't have our phones.
They took your phones from you?
Yeah. So we didn't have our phones, and then all the people are posting pictures of us.
Wow.
So I was like, oh man. And then I get my phone back at like 12:45, 12:50, and then I'm tagged in all these pictures. And then they're like, oh, they got the Epstein files. And I'm like, dude, I'm under embargo. I can't say that they're nothing, even though I'd been briefed that they were nothing, but that they were trying to get what they had. And the real story was the letter from the AG to Kash. That was the real story. And I'm like, man. So I started DMing people, you guys called, and I was like, guys, it's nothing. Here's the letter. It's under embargo till 3. Trying to manage expectations back scene, and then in the back of the scene, right? And then that all becomes, oh, you're covering up, and why did you guys only get these things, and why didn't we? So for 3 hours, I just had to let people like give me a licking, right? And it was a lot of people. I was surprised. I was like, man, all these years, and you can't send me a DM before you put me on blast.
Why do you think that they released it to 5 people and not to the public?
Let me. I'm sorry.
We'll follow up with that.
What I wanted to point out to a lot of people who don't know is that the only reason we have these files, whatever they may be, even if it's 10 years old, is because you filed legal paperwork which broke open the Epstein story. That is you. When I saw people coming out of the White House, and you're in the background, kind of like looking away and like trying to get away from the cameras, there was no moment in my mind where I was like, how come Mike is there? I was like, of course Mike is there. He broke this story.
But like literally, you were the guy, like the guy that started the how did it start when you?
It started, there was a defamation action brought against Ghislaine Maxwell, and everything, my lawyer, Mark Randazza, who's a First Amendment lawyer, and he sent me this case file, and everything was just redacted. And he goes, hey, aren't you always like talking about Epstein? And I go, yeah. And he said, well, here's a backdoor way for you to get Epstein information because it was a defamation case. There were depositions. It wasn't against Epstein, but it involved him because it was a civil lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell. So we filed what was called a motion to intervene on behalf of Cerno Media, my media company, and a motion to unseal.
Wow.
And so we filed that. And we lost at the trial court level. And then we went up on appeal to the Second Circuit. And in the meantime, the Miami Herald then filed, they joined mine. So they joined my motion to intervene and motion to unseal. They also lost. And then it all went up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And then in oral argument, it became so obvious that the files would be unsealed that Epstein was arrested the weekend after oral arguments indicated. And, and Tim could confirm this.
I want to stress this.
Yeah.
Epstein was a free man.
Yes.
Mike filed these papers. Miami Herald joins.
Yep.
Epstein gets arrested. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.